everybody, it is Catherine with Adivai Fig doing another tech video with JF Fabrics, and today I want to be talking about systems. So I know systems might sound boring, but to me it is one of my favorite topics, and I want to talk about how systems and processes and technology can help you run your business better, can actually scale, can help you grow, and all those good things. So to get started, let's just jump straight in and let's talk about understanding what I'm talking about when I say systems. And what I'm referring to is what I like to think of the 4 S's of having a successful business. And so when we talk about these 4 S's, I'm looking at first your service offering or product. So if you want to be a business and you only have a service offering or a product, you're not a business, you're a hobby until you actually start to do the second S, which is sell. You're a hobby, and then once you start selling it, you become an actual business, right? And a lot of people kind of sit there. They do what's in the E-Myth, the book The E-Myth, the author calls being a technician, which means you are doing everything. You have your product that you're doing, your service that you're doing designing, but you do everything else and you sell. And you can't really move beyond that, and you're kind of limited in how you can grow until you have your third S, which is called systems, which is really understanding what are your processes, what are you doing in your business, and that goes across all areas of your business. So sales, it could be marketing, it could be actually delivering the product, it could be customer service. So whether or not you are a one-person shop or a team of 10 or 20, you have systems, you have departments in your business, and it's about understanding them and defining them and writing them down. And so once you do that, once you kind of create those systems, you can do the fourth S, which is scale. It allows you to actually go into looking at those systems and saying, well, should I be doing this myself? Should I be doing them at all? Can I automate them? Can I use software? Can I find someone and delegate to somebody else to do them? Or do I need to actually be doing them and it's part of my core competency, it's part of my business and I should be doing them? And until you actually understand what it is you're doing, you can't have that conversation. So let's talk a little bit more and dive in about specifically systems and ways that you can create that in your business. So it starts really with understanding, defining what they are through what we're calling your standard operating procedures. So I usually say, get a blank piece of paper and let's write down the different areas of your business and what systems that you need to do. So what do you do with your sales process, from how someone gets awareness, whether that's through referral, whether they see an ad, how does someone find out you exist, to you doing a discovery call with them, to you actually sending them a proposal till they approve it or till they don't approve it. What does that process look like? What are you trying to track? When you actually roll out the project, what type of folders do you use? What type of files do you need? What type of documents are you collecting when you roll out a project? How are you managing the tasks associated with rolling out a project? And then jumping into actually delivering and working with vendors, providing customer service if you need. So really just kind of going through those different areas of your business and defining them. So once you actually have those processes, you can figure out what technology can help you manage those processes. And there's 3 ways to use technology or software to manage those processes. So let's jump in. I'm going to share my screen with you. And the first way is really through if you checked out my last video, I talked about having a productivity suite and using Google and Microsoft 365. So the first way is just really utilizing those tools more. So if you have, for example, G Suite for Business, and you get a blank piece of paper, it doesn't have to be super complicated. You're just writing down what are your processes in your business? How are you tracking customers? What do you care to know about them? What information do you need? And then come in here and actually take that kind of diagram that you build out, and using Google Forms, you can create a basically onboarding guide for your customers. How are you going to collect your intake form? How are you going to collect information on them? And you can use Google Forms to do that. And that information can then go into your Google Drive, and you can actually create a spreadsheet. So you can essentially start just organizing what it is you're trying to do between Forms and creating Google spreadsheets or creating spreadsheets in Microsoft. And so that's kind of option number 1. Use the tools that you have. It doesn't have to be super complicated, but understand what it is you're trying to do. Understand your actual systems. Option number 2 is using software and apps to help you manage those systems or help you manage the things you're trying to do. So if you, for example, I talked about how are you gaining sales? How do you keep track of, if you have maybe 10 or 15 people who have been interested in your services, how many times are you following up with them? How do you keep track of how many times you followed up with them? What are you sending them? And we do things like that with what's called the CRM. So one option is you kind of have individual tools, maybe a CRM for managing sales and your customers, maybe a project management tool for managing the actual rollout of your projects. Maybe you're still using Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive to store pictures for your clients and things like that. So this is kind of option number 2, where you, depending on the process that you're trying to manage, finding an application or a software tool that will individually help you manage that process. So one thing with this though is, even though I might say I have my CRM here, right? So my CRM, like I mentioned, is how do you track your sales? How do you track the information for your customers? Well, and then I have this project management tool. I like a tool called Asana, where you can actually create projects and see your task list, and it has a mobile app and it's really great. Well, you can take these individual tools and you can still integrate them with each other. So that integration allows you to still use individual tools, but kind of still connect them and not have to duplicate a bunch of work. So that's kind of one option, right? But the information that you're kind of still bouncing between multiple apps. Maybe you have a customer service app. Here's Asana for your projects, a CRM for your sales. All right, so the third option for people who say, well, I have a little bit more information than going straight out of spreadsheets and forms. I want a little bit more features. Then you can go into kind of these individual services and software that does that. Or the third option says, well, I really want everything under one roof, right? I want to simplify it. And that's when you really get into using these tools, which are considered really all-in-one platforms for designers or for similar online businesses or service-based businesses. So for example, Design Files, which is this one, the all-in-one software to run your design business. So it's really designed to be, okay, you need to be able to send invoices, you need to be able to track your tasks, track your clients, everything in one place. That's what something like Design Files does. My Doma Studio is another example of this. And then this is more general. Dubsado is a more general tool where it's not specific to designers, but it is that all-in-one where you can track who are you working with, who are your clients, how many times you followed up with them, get your projects in there and connect it to Google or Microsoft to store your files and your pictures and things like that. So in summary, I just some things to kind of think about of how do you want to manage your business when you're really thinking about, you're feeling maybe overwhelmed, you feel like you're kind of all over the place, is to really get organized with your systems and your processes, and to figure out what does it make sense where you can just get organized through your forms, through spreadsheets, through files in Google or Google Drive. Are there specific tools out there that you really feel like you could be useful, like managing your customers a little bit better, organizing your projects a little bit better, using something like Asana? Or are you really looking for that all-in-one solution where you just want to find something that you can just bring all your data over to and actually be able to get kind of organized that way instead? Now, if you have any questions on this, please feel free to reach out. I know this is a lot of information to throw at you in a 5-minute video, but I'm happy to discuss a little bit further. My company is AdavaiFig. You can visit us at www.adavaifig.com, or feel free to send me an email at catherine@adavaifig.com. Thanks so much.